Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. There's no spokesperson for this video. This video actually does not come from a police agency. The footage that's in it does come from police agencies, but the product, the final product, so to speak, of all these videos being put together, does not come from a police agency. It comes from a news media outlet. I want to say it's called the Columbus Ledger. And this news entity basically gathered up a bunch of body cam footage from some officers within the Columbus Police and the Muscogee County Sheriff's Office and put them together to basically tell a story about what happened. And in short, what happened is there was kind of a standoff almost between city police and sheriff deputies at the county jail. And so it kind of explains within the video what's going on, and I'll let the video explain more of what's going on here. But I'll pause it here and there to kind of add some extra stuff in there to help people along. Here we go.
All right, we got another one coming out. Okay, come on.
Okay, so jails and prisons here in the U.S. Some people get the terminology wrong, and people get terminology wrong with a lot of things, not just within the criminal justice system, but also other aspects of life within other industries. Between jails and prisons, I see this as one thing that a lot of people get mixed up. People will incorrectly use the terminology prison to describe jail, or they'll use the word jail to describe prison. And although both confine people to a room in a building, they're not exactly the same. So a jail is a place where newly arrested people are taken and held until they can pay a bond to get out, until they see a judge who releases them on technically a bond called a self-reconnaissance, or until they are found innocent or guilty. And then if they're found guilty, then if their sentence is less than a year, they get to stay at that county jail in most cases. And if their sentence is for more than a year, then they go to a prison. So jails are set up to house freshly arrested people and people who have been sentenced to, like, let's say 6 months in jail, or 8 months, or 2 months, whatever. Less than a year's time. Prisons are for people who've been sentenced to more than a year. So, for example, someone arrested for murder. That person who's arrested for murder is initially going to go be housed in a county jail until their trial. And if they are found guilty at their trial, then they are sent off to a prison to serve out their sentence. Now, while this person is sitting in a county jail waiting for their trial for murder, they could end up staying in that county jail waiting for a trial to happen for a year or more. That's not uncommon. So if someone, let's say for example, someone was arrested January 1st of 2022 for murder, they could sit in that county jail up until probably 2023 or 2024 until their trial comes about for murder. And then, once they're found guilty, they can stay in that county jail for a short period of time while they figure out the details of the transport and make arrangements and everything. It could be a month or 2 months, something like that. But they'll eventually get transferred out to a prison, and then they'll stay there for 20-something years, or stay there for life, or stay there until they die, either from natural causes or because the state put them down. So those are the two distinctions, or the two basic, I guess you could say, definitions that make a jail and a prison different from each other. They both house people and keep them locked up, but how they go about it is way different. With prisons, you have state prisons and then you have federal prisons. So you can be locked up on state charges or you can be locked up on federal charges. Now, when it comes to county jails can hold, depending on where, the jail itself, there can be up to 3 different types of classifications of inmates that these facilities can hold. A lot of jails in the U.S. just house county inmates only. Like the locals who are arrested within that county are housed there. People picked up for DUI, burglary, robbery, drug charges, etc. They're housed in the county jail. And then, when they are final sentenced, if they get less than a year's time, they stay within that county jail. If they get more than a year's time, then generally speaking, they get sent off to the state prison. Pretty simple, straightforward. There are some jails within this country that house both county and state inmates. So when they house a state inmate, that county jail actually gets money from the state government to house that state inmate. And that state inmate is on usually a work program, like the inmates that you see on the side of the road picking up trash, mowing grass, stuff like that. Those are typically state inmates, and they're on a work release program. Here in Kentucky, we call those Class D inmates, and they are people who have lesser felony charges, or lower felony convictions, like super serious stuff, as a way to alleviate some overcrowding within state prisons, and as kind of a program to rehabilitate people. They have the Class D program where instead of spending all your time in a state prison somewhere, you can go on a work release program, get housed in a county jail, and you can go do work. And the inmates actually get paid each day for the work they do. It's not nothing at all, really. It's like 63 cents a day or some crazy, stupid, low shit. But they actually get paid per day, and they can actually have some of their sentencing time shaved off by doing this. So there's county jails that do the county inmates and the state inmates. And then there are some jails that also house federal inmates. Now, there's federal prisons, but to my knowledge, there are no federal jails. If there are federal jails, and they're probably in like the really super big ass cities. But even then, I'm not even sure about that. But most places, for states and stuff, there are jails that are contracted by the federal government to hold those federal inmates, because it's just not a viable option for the federal government to build X amount of federal jails, so to speak, all across the nation. So instead, what they do is they pay a county jail to house these federal inmates. And these federal inmates are in the trial process. They've been arrested on federal charges, and they're going through the court process within federal court. And in the meantime, they need to be held somewhere. So the federal government contracts with county jails and says, hey, if you house these inmates for us, we'll give you X amount of money per inmate per day. So the jails will actually make a profit off them, just like they kind of make a little bit of a profit off the state inmates. So that's kind of the breakdown of jails and prisons here in the U.S. But just know that a jail is a place where people stay for less than a year, and a prison is where people go for more than a year. There's a lot more differences between the two than that, but I'll save you the rant and move on from there.
You know him?
Yeah.
Who is that?
I don't know his name. I just know him by face.
All right.
By face.
Oh crap! I was trying to pause it so I could see the sign.
Who is that?
I don't know his name. I just know him by face.
All right. So they, the sheriff's office told the city police, "Hey, please stop arresting people in this operation. We're afraid of overcrowding." And the city police said, well, I don't know what they said, but they didn't stop arresting people. They continued to arrest people. So the sheriff's office was like, okay, well, we'll just stop allowing you to come in on a first come, first served basis. Even if you got here first, we're going to book sheriff deputy inmates first. Then we'll process state police inmates, and then if there's nothing else going on, we'll process your inmates. Kind of a bitch move. But when the jail is ran by the sheriff's office, they can get away with doing that. So in the U.S., most county jails are ran by the sheriff's office. Kentucky is a little bit different. Our sheriff's office has nothing to do with the county jail. In fact, the only time the sheriff's office would ever have anything to do with running the jail is if the elected jailer becomes incapacitated. The sheriff can take over until a new jailer is appointed. So in Kentucky, our jails are ran by an elected official called the jailer. It's not a person within the sheriff's office or anything like that. The jailer is its own office. It's an elected official, just like the sheriff is an elected official, just like the coroner is an elected official. Jailers in Kentucky are peace officers. They have arrest powers just like city police, county sheriff, state police. So that makes things, one, unique, obviously, but two, that kind of setup in our state would prevent something like this from happening. But even in the rest of the U.S., I'm sure there's been some little stuff here and there between the sheriff's office and the city police agencies out there. It never made it to light like this. But, I mean, something like this happening that you're going to see, I don't know. I just, probably to the level of this, I don't think it's happened before. I could be, wrong. We just don't know about it. But what goes on here is utter bullshit. But, like I said, the sheriff holds all the keys, so to speak, when the sheriff runs the jail. Now, there are some city police agencies out there across the U.S. that operate their own holding facility. But they're like really large agencies. For example, Los Angeles Police. I don't know a whole lot about Los Angeles Police, but from what I do know, they have a holding facility, kind of like a detention center, where they hold their very freshly arrested inmates, and they'll hold them there for some period of time before they are transferred over to a county jail. Now, the time frame and processes involved and all that, I don't know the details of it, but I do know that they have a holding facility of some sort that they'll hold freshly arrested inmates before they get transferred to a county holding facility. I think Milwaukee has something like that. I've done a video on Milwaukee where they had a person die within their holding cells. And it was like a little miniature jail within the police station, basically, that they would house some of these people and then house them for X amount of time. I think what was going on was they were housing them until they went to court. And if the court decided they were going to stay in custody for a while, they go to the sheriff. If not, then they go back, I guess, to the police and be processed out and be let go. So not very many police agencies out there run their own detention center or jail, so to speak. For the most part, all across the U.S., there are county jails that serve this need, and most of those jails are ran by the sheriff. All jails are similar to each other in how they operate, but they all vary from county to county and state to state. They all do something a little bit different, a little bit unique. There is no standard playbook, so to speak, that jails follow, and the same for prisons as well. For example, this sign right here says no weapons, ammunition, no chemical agent, no electronic devices, no cell phones, tobacco free facility. So some places go so far as to say you can't even bring in your pepper spray or your taser. That's a little extreme in my opinion, because a lot of the jails now have their jail deputies carrying around tasers and pepper spray, so what the fuck does it matter if an officer off the street brings in their pepper spray or taser? At a baseline minimum, pretty much all jails say you can't bring your gun inside. And that's a totally acceptable rule. Like, you don't want guns going into a jail. Inside the jail is where all the fucking bad guys are, and they could very easily overpower someone, and you sure as shit don't want them getting a damn gun in their hand, because that changes things a lot. So most places, like I said, as far as I know, all jails say no guns inside. There may be like some weird ass jail somewhere that lets officers come in off the street still wearing their gun. If that place does do that kind of shit, then they're fucking wacky. But pretty much all jails say do not bring your gun inside. Only certain ones that want to go be extra and stupid will say shit like don't bring your spray and taser in. So what officers do in those instances is they'll take their gun and they'll either put it in the trunk of their car, or they'll leave it in the cab of their vehicle and lock the vehicle. Or sometimes within the Sally Port area, which is this area that you see here, this little garage looking thing, there will be gun lockers inside there. And they'll go to a gun locker, they'll stick their gun in there, close the door, and take the key with them. The lockers are sort of like how when you go to like a public pool or something like that, there's a bunch of lockers and they all have keys hanging out the doors. You just put your stuff in, close the door, turn the key to lock it, and take the key with you. Same concept here with the gun lockers. You just have to remember which locker number that you used, and then you get done doing your thing inside, you come out, put your key in, unlock it, take your gun with you. That part will be important later. The Sally Ports. So each jail is a little bit different on how their Sally Port is. So Sally Port is basically like a garage in a way. It can have garage doors that open to allow a car in and then close. Or it could be a fence type of gate that slides open and then slides closed. But it's basically a structure, so to speak, that allows a vehicle with a prisoner to pull in, and then that area becomes secure so that they can get out of the car and they can't take off running and escape. And then you can go inside the jail, come back out, and then be let back out again. They all, like I said, they all vary in design. Some have a drive-through kind of setup, just like this one does. So their drive-through setup is kind of like a little U-shape, like a U-turn kind of thing. That's kind of cool. So you can enter in from one side, pull in, let your people out, buzz them in through the door, go do your thing, come back out to your car, and then drive out and leave. There are some places that have that set up where it's a lot more expedited, I guess you could say. It's a more faster process of pulling in, pulling out. Other places, it's more of a slower process where you pull in, park, go inside, do your thing, come back out, and then leave. There's some places that kind of have it like a parking structure kind of set up, where it's just like one big ass parking lot or parking garage kind of thing. People pull in there, park, and then they walk them to a door to take them inside the jail. Some places don't have a sally port. You know, some counties are kind of small and they got a small budget. They just don't have it. But the sally port is a good thing to have, especially if you have a combative person or someone who is most likely to try and run and escape. You can pull inside this enclosed area, close the gates, close the doors, whatever, and open the car door. If they bust out of that damn fucking back seat like a rabbit, well, they got nowhere to go. They just run in circles inside the sally port area until you get them down on the ground and gain control back over them. If you was out on the street and you open the door and someone tried to fucking Bugs Bunny it out of there, you're gonna have to chase their ass down the street. And so the sally port makes that a lot nicer. I mean, once they're inside the sally port, like they're not going anywhere unless the jail person inside working the control room screws up and unlocks a door from the remote control, and then they just run out the damn door. Anyway, moving on.
Come on.
Hey, Snipes, they're still denying us. Dudley left with his body, so that's 3 minus the 4 that they had. So they got 1 in there, and he still won't. Oh, God bless America. They won't let us in.
They won't let y'all in. They won't let me in.
Ain't that right?
Ain't that right?
Nah, you go in there before us, I'm gonna raise hell.
Watch this.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna file a complaint, a legitimate
And like,
complaint.
well, that's a mean bun. Go at home. Boom.
Out of Central. SB1, please.
Lieutenant Ness are about to get complaint. 100%. That is the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen in my life.
Hey.
What do you think? How my legs so fat? I don't know.
So wait a minute.
Oh, don't yell it. Don't start yelling. Hey, come on.
All right, I'm gonna file a complaint.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. Good. How are you? Tell them y'all had.
All right. So it looks like these officers were already there and waiting with their prisoner to get in, and then a sheriff deputy comes up with an inmate, and they let him straight in and keep the officers waiting out in the sally port. That's a bitch move. That deputy that they let in, he later comes out, and they are refusing. The city police are essentially refusing to let him leave because they blocked his car in, and he can't pull out. This person right here is a lieutenant. He's working with inside the jail, and he's out here talking to them about what's going on.
Directives, I have directives. Sheriff says ain't nobody coming in, only 5 at a time. SON, GSP has priority.
So, SO has priority,
And
even
GSP
though.
and you guys. I mean, this is beyond my control. I don't have anything, so don't yell at me. All right. As soon as that last one gets cleared, I'm going to bring it
All
back.
right, so he has said that the sheriff's office has priority with their intakes. So that means that if that sally port is full of nothing but city police officers and a sheriff's deputy comes up 10 minutes later with an inmate, they're going to let that sheriff's deputy in before all those officers. Again, that's a bitch move. This lieutenant inside the jail, he so this is kind of a thing that's going on in some jails, wearing the outer vests, which in some jails and prisons the staff inside wear what's called stab-resistant vests. They're just vests made to withstand or resist impacts from edged weapons, like a knife or a shank. A shank being basically a homemade improvised knife. They're not designed to stop bullets or slow down bullets. They're designed to prevent a knife from going all the way through. Now, what he has in his outer vest, I don't know. He could have just stab panels in there, or he could have bullet panels in there as well. Because this jail is ran by a sheriff's office, it's conceivable that when the sheriff purchases things, that all people within the sheriff's office, as far as being a sworn deputy, get to have access to it. So if the sheriff decides that he's going to buy 300 vests, well, when he orders the 300 vests, that goes for the patrol deputies and the jail deputies. Could be. So this could be, something like that, where, they did an order, everyone got the same stuff, or this was kind of like a hand-me-down kind of thing, or this could be a personally bought vest. I don't know. But within some of these county jails that are ran by the sheriff's office, when you look at the jail deputies and you look at the road deputies, you can't really tell a big difference in them because they look very similar to each other. California, I think, is pretty good about doing that. Their jail deputies look very similar to their road deputies. Other places you go to, like you can tell for sure that like the jail deputies are not the same as the road deputies. They're fucking dressed way different. But one thing that has kind of always struck me as being odd about jail deputies is sometimes they wear full, complete duty belts or outer vests like this while inside the jail. And that just never made a whole lot of sense to me. Why would you carry a full duty belt with a gun holster on it when the gun holster is going to be empty all damn day when you're inside that jail? Why are you going to wear a bullet-resistant vest all day inside the jail? It just does not make any sense to me. But that's a thing within jails. That's a practice that goes on. Actually, if you ever go inside a jail, oftentimes you will see the jail deputies walking around with an empty gun holster, and inside that gun holster they have a set of jail keys sitting inside of it. It's the stupidest fucking shit I've ever seen. But it goes on. So this dude wearing this big ass outer vest and having a big fucking name tag, or not even name tag, a title placard slapped across the front of the vest, Lieutenant. We're obviously not mistaking this guy. We know exactly who this guy is and that he's a fucking lieutenant. It's very obvious with that big ass name tape on there. That's another thing that has always kind of struck me as being slightly odd within jails. Shit like this. Lieutenant, like everybody in that jail knows this dude's the fucking lieutenant. Like, why the hell does he need such a big ass name tag on there? Or where their uniforms are mostly like a polo or a t-shirt or something like that, but they get a metal badge and they wear it on their belt. Well, how the fuck are you wearing a badge like that in the jail? Like, are you worried that the inmates are going to forget who the fuck you are? They're not going to forget who you are. So that aspect, I've never understood, like, why they wear badges clipped to their belts inside the jail. Now, if it's a uniform where it's like a Class A uniform, it's got the badge up on the shirt, okay, I get that. I understand that. That's that's that style of uniform, and it's supposed to look like the other ones who are out there on the streets. If it's obviously the sheriff's office running the thing or whatever, but even then, I still don't agree with the whole metal badge and everything inside there, because the metal badge on the back of it has this pointy ass fucking pin on the back that's like 2 inches long, and it's a pretty damn thick pin. And if your badge comes loose in a fight, that damn thing can be used as a weapon. So I think it's a safer option for deputies working in a jail to have their badges and stuff like that embroidered onto their shirt. The less metal shit that you could have end up falling off a shirt and becoming lost within a jail, the better, because those motherfuckers will turn anything into a weapon or tattoo gun, or tattoo making device or something, or use it to fucking scratch their name into a wall, or scratch their confession or their profess to who they love on the wall or whatever. So the less metal stuff on a uniform that could be lost, the better. But yeah, anyway, like goofy shit like this typically goes on inside jails.
Unless another SO unit shows up.
It's not my decision.
Because I'm about to have a stroke.
Guess what? You want to anyway.
This is a failure of justice.
And the jail does not like us, so we have 5 people sitting here outside waiting.
This dude is literally just sitting back, chilling in this fucking office chair, watching this entire shit show going on. Like, the only thing missing for this dude is a bag of popcorn.
That's wonderful. The sheriff is very pissed with us, okay? And he runs the jail, so.
Them goddamn supervisors can.
I understand. I get that.
So I can get the out the way.
Alright, so I got a call to go to. I can't go to the call because y'all want to play stupid ass childish game. It ain't because of me, man. I got nothing to do with that. Sarge, I ain't got nothing to do with that in there. It ain't my goddamn call. It's between the sheriff and the guy that works over there. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Move the goddamn car, or I'm gonna move the myself.
Go move it. How you gonna move it? Move it.
Move the goddamn car, man.
Move the car.
Why?
Huh? He's in that part.
You're acting like a bunch of goddamn kids, man.
So he told them he's going to move it. They need to move it, or he's going to move it. They called his bluff, and well, he asked to walk away and live with the fact that his bluff got called. Bluffing can work in some instances, but if you're not careful, you can have it called on you real quick. And this is one of those instances where I wouldn't see, bringing it to that point, saying something like that, unless you fully intend to actually somehow move that damn car. Now, what could they have done to actually move that damn car? For one, they could have called a tow company. So this is county property that they're on, most likely. And they could have called a tow company, and that tow company could have come out and hooked up to that car and pulled it out of the way. Now, in some places, they may not have done that because there's a person inside the vehicle. Like, well, there's someone in it, we can't technically hook up to it. Other places, they would have been more than happy to hook up to it and then pull it away. Now, what happens from there? Those city police officers could then threaten to arrest or cite that tow truck driver or actually arrest the tow truck driver. So for this one to really fully work, it would have been great if the sheriff's office had its own tow truck and could have the tow truck driver come out, who would be a county employee, most likely a sworn deputy, hook up to that car, and then fucking move it out of the way. Because then it would be less likely that those city officers would try to go arrest another county law enforcement officer. He could have, depending on if there was a person in the vehicle or not and it was running, he could have just got inside the damn thing and backed it out of the spot. Now, could that be a criminal offense? Technically, depending on the state law. It could be that, he was operating a motor vehicle without permission of someone. And so he could technically be charged with that. It's not necessarily something that could always be an arrestable offense, but they could try to cite him for it. Now, that would then depend on whether or not that deputy wants to be forthcoming and participate in that and give them the information for them to fill out a citation, at which point those city officers could detain that deputy to fill out the citation for him. So even if he did try to actually physically move that vehicle, it could have ended up ending disastrously and end up with one of the city officers trying to cite or arrest either a tow truck driver or cite or arrest that deputy for trying to move the vehicle. And conversely, the sheriff deputy could, in theory, cite or arrest that city officer who's in that vehicle refusing to move for something like interfering with official police business or whatever a state charge may be. Those kind of things vary within the title from state to state, but or even charge that person for something like official misconduct or something like that. So there's things that could be done from the legal side of things as far as citing and arresting, but because these guys are police officers, it makes it a lot more different, I guess you could say, a lot more difficult. Number one being they're all armed and they're all cops. So if this had been police versus a regular citizen, just regular Joe Blow, it would not have lasted this long. Regular Joe Blow would have been yanked out of the fucking car, assisted to the ground, cuffed up, and taken into the jail. So there's something to be said in regards to that about the right to bear arms. Right? These cops aren't fucking going at each other because they're all armed. But if it was a regular Joe Blow citizen sitting there blocking the police and not moving for them, and they're unarmed, their ass is getting yanked out of the car. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna go get my stuff because this is getting stupid. I'm not gonna be de-armed outside of the jail.
Alright, so this is what I was talking about earlier with the gun lockers inside the jail, or officers locking their gun in a car, whether it's in the cab, like under the seat, or it's in the trunk. So they do that because the jails obviously have a rule, you can't bring guns inside. Well, this officer had intended to go inside the jail, which is why he locked his gun inside the car. But now that it looks like they're not going inside the jail, what's the point of being unarmed outside the jail for a long period of time? I don't think it's a good idea to be unarmed for a long period of time. Even though they're outside of a law enforcement facility, and they're in police cars, it doesn't mean that some shit couldn't pop off outside. So I like the fact that he does have this mindset of going and getting his gun and putting it back on him, because he's out in the streets. There's no thick-ass concrete reinforced walls separating him from the outside and the rest of the world. He's in the rest of the world at this point. He is in a unsecured area. Even though it's right outside a police facility, it's still an unsecured area. It's the rest of the world. So he has the right mindset of going and getting his gun and putting it back in his holster. Now, the news agency, of course, their reporters don't know what the fuck's going on. They do not understand that concept. But it looks like to me, my personal opinion, why they put this on there is to make something more than what it is. I think they're trying to make it an insinuation that, you know, this standoff that's occurring between these agencies, this guy's going to get his gun. Like he's ready to fucking fight it out with the sheriff's office. No, that shit ain't fucking happening. That is not crossing this dude's mind. My opinion, this guy's thinking about realistic, tactical. You know, he's thinking, I'm out on the streets right now. I'm walking around unarmed. Anything can happen. I need my gun. So, good for him for having that proper mindset. And bad on the media for making this look like something more than what it is.
You need to get lucky for somebody to get the goddamn car so I can get out. They want to play games, you don't let them in, so they don't want to let me out. I hope I don't see you get your ass whooped on the street, because I'm going to drive the by. And you can tell your goddamn supervisor and everybody else I sit there. Yeah, do it. I'll see you in a car because I got a goddamn car to go to. You don't want to move the goddamn car. Huh? Yeah. Don't stop for me. Don't stop for me.
So, he pretty much told him that if he's driving by and he see that he's getting his ass whooped, he is not going to stop for him. What happened to this back to blue shit, dude? So, this is, I was going to kind of save this towards the end, but I might as well talk about it now. There is this theme or this mindset within law enforcement in general. You know, back the blue, support the blue. You know, some officers have this unwritten rule, this unwritten policy or whatever that they'll never cite another officer. They'll never arrest another officer. You know, back the blue. It's a brotherhood, right? But yeah, then they'll turn right back around and fucking talk shit about each other. and within the own agency, they will stab each other in the fucking back relentlessly. Yeah, it sounds nice in theory that, you know, there's the brotherhood within law enforcement. But in all reality, that doesn't fully 100% exist. It's like a fucking good idea fairy kind of thing. There is a lot of rivalry within agencies and between agencies. There's tribalism, cliquism, whatever you want to call it. There is like a divide between police. And it can be internally within their own agency or between agencies. So, within agencies themselves. Like I said, there can be a lot of fucking backstabbing going on. And it's not like this is just exclusive to the police industry only, or law enforcement industry only. This kind of shit goes on in other workplaces. It goes on at Walmart. It goes on at your local diner. It goes on at the attorney's office. It goes on at the church. It definitely goes on at church. It goes on in a lot of places, right? People just don't get along with each other very well. And then you've got groups of people who do get along with each other very well, and they kind of form this little tribe within this entity, or this clique within this entity. And you're either in the in crowd or you're in the out crowd. So it's like fucking high school all over again, right? Like you've got, you know, the popular fucking crowd and you got the unpopular crowd. So really, you have a bunch of adults who have never grown past the fucking high school phase of life. Like, they're still living in high school world. Oh my God, did you hear about such and such? Oh, you know, going on about shit, fucking manipulating shit. In high school, you got the teacher's pet. Well, in adult world, you got the boss's pet, right? Like the fucking brown nosers who got their head so far up the supervisor's ass, they know what the supervisor had for dinner the night before and what they had for breakfast. And if it's not that shit that's bad enough, then you also got people fucking each other over, turning people in for the fucking silliest shit. I mean, the dumbest, silliest fucking shit. Like, you literally have grown-ass men and women in law enforcement screenshotting other law enforcement officers' social media posts and sending them to the fucking chief or sending them to a supervisor. Like, grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up. Like, quit doing that shit. So that goes on. If there's couples within an agency, which, you know, that happens, or this one's even, you know, this happens too. You know, there may be a spouse that works for one agency and a spouse that works for a different agency, and, you know, let's say the wife is working for, you know, this agency, but their husband works for a different agency. Well, the wife could be banging someone in the own agency that she works at, and the person they're banging is another officer. So where's that back the blue shit at? Like, that's fucking, that's betrayal. Like, you're betraying one of your own brothers by going around and fucking their spouse. That shit happens a lot. More than what it should. So, the internal rivalry, the internal cliques and shit like that goes on. Now, it's not something that's very, you know, widely known or talked about, because law enforcement is kind of a closed-knit community. You know, all the stuff kind of stays in-house, so to speak. It's not like, you know, people are getting online and fucking airing their dirty laundry out for everyone else to hear and see about with the local police department. It does kind of stay in-house for the most part. And so the general public never really fully sees what goes on, but that shit goes on. Like, what goes on at fucking Walmart, I guarantee you goes on at your local police office. Bunch of fuckery, bunch of stuff, fucking stupid shit goes on. People turning each other in for the dumbest shit, just so, you know, someone can get a promotion or be on the good side of the chief. It's just, or simply because someone just doesn't like another person. Stupid shit. And if that's not bad enough in of itself, then you've got agency versus agency, like city police versus county police. Just like the fucking Super Troopers movie, where you got the Spurbury Police and the Highway Patrol. Like, this is what this whole incident right here is. This is some fucking Super Trooper bullshit going on right here, where it is Spurbury Police versus Highway Patrol. Like, they're fucking fighting each other. And it's dumb. It is fucking dumb. But you have that out there between agencies. So you've got, like, city police that talk shit on county police, and then the county police turns around, talk shit on the city police, and then your state police talk shit on both of them, and then, you know, your feds within the local area, like the FBI, they fucking talk shit down to the city police. They treat them, you know, of lesser stature and quality, and then, you know, ATF, you know, maybe looking down on them, and then, you know, U.S. Marshals in between all the federal agencies, you know, they may talk shit about each other, you know, Marshals may be like, those fucking FBI guys, fucking idiots. The big dirty secret about law enforcement, they all talk shit about each other. It is like like I said, it is like the biggest fucking group of people who never left high school. It really is. And for agency to agency, that's just kind of where it stays at. It stays at the shit talking level. Now, it can, in some places, go a little bit more than that. where they just don't back each other up. They don't play well with each other, etc. They have turf battles, I guess you could say. And it's not even like turf battles in the sense of like, oh, we're going to take this call. You're going to back the fuck out. It could be the reverse of that. It could be like, no, that's not our fucking area. That's your area. You go take care of that shit. And then the other agency is like, no, it's not our area. It's your area. You go take care of it. So they can either fight to take a call or they can fight to not take a call. And it's the wildest fucking shit ever. It really is. But yeah, like that, like I said, that goes on. And I just don't think that people fully understand that or realize that, like how childish sometimes their local law enforcement can be. And that's not just law enforcement. That shit goes on with fire departments. Like there are fire departments that fucking beef with each other. And like especially with territory stuff. Like, oh, you're in our district. Get out of our district. Hey, what the fuck? Like, what happened to the idea of we're here for the people? Like, fuck your feelings. Fuck your territory, your district. I don't give a shit about your fucking district. If someone needs help, they need to get help. Who the fuck care who gives them the help? I don't give a shit if it's state police helping someone, sheriff helping someone, city police helping someone, volunteer fire department helping someone, city fire helping someone, ambulance helping someone, or fucking rescue helping someone, or tow trucks helping someone, or security helping someone. Don't give a shit. Somebody needs help, I need help. The squabbling shit that goes on, like it's dumb. Fucking dumb. So the gun lockers that I was talking about, you can see those right over here. They're just little cube-shaped gun lockers.
I don't know, but I'm probably gonna quit. This is so stupid, dude.
Back it up so we don't have to bring it down.
Listen, man, I'm only doing what my supervisor told me. I understand. This is ridiculous, and I hate that I'm dealing with this shit. But you're gonna have to talk to the sergeant over there.
No, I'll be talking to the chief. Hey, Chief, I'm sorry. We got a situation over here. We got CPD won't let our guys out, and they're about to go to blows. I'm asking your CPD officer to back up his car, and he's saying that his supervisor told him not to let it.
And again, no one on our side is threatening.
We're having a tit for tat over here. Hold on. Roll down your window. Here you go. Thank you, Chief. We gotta stop playing these guys. This is retarded.
Yes.
I know most of us are kind of at a standstill. Do I have anybody on Forest Road reference to 7511?
Hey, sorry, we got it.
I think we're all standing on the wall of the jail.
A burglary in progress. Burglary in progress. Some shitbag fucking criminal has broke into someone's house. Someone's house who, that's their castle. All the shit that's in their house is stuff they've worked for. Working at a job 40 hours or more a week. Most likely more, because every fucking place has overtime, it seems like. Some shitbag criminal breaking into someone's house with the intent to steal their shit. And maybe even hurt people if they're inside the house. And these police cannot go to the call because they're all sitting outside the jail. Over some bullshit. That is a miscarriage of justice. I feel bad for, the people whose house is getting broken into, and the police are standing around with measuring tape whipping their dicks out. Because that's all this is right now, is a fucking dick measuring fucking contest.
What car is who? Hey, move your car, bro.
Fantastic.
All right, I'm get who your sergeant is. Hey, he's with the chief. Okay. Sorry, he's with the chief. He's with the chief. Sorry.
What's
your name?
out there, started rolling up and shutting right before I got there.
Give me a second. Give me a second. I hear you. I hear you.
What is in the Sally board? Yes, sir.
Hey, go ahead and back it up. Back it up. All right.
Hey, Fairbanks, no. You stay right there, man.
Hey, oh, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, your sergeant over here, tell him not to do it. It's alcohol.
And one guy out of the group has to be wearing a fucking mask.
Chief said he's not moving. We gotta get somebody over here. We gotta put this. That's disrespectful. Hey, anytime I got locked in, what I gotta do with this shit? Hey, everybody in.
I try to get through, and they immediately halfway open it, shut it on me, and I hear through there's a deputy saying this behind the radio, that female officer's trying to get into the door. Do not let her in that door. Do not let any officer through that door.
From PD.
From the jailer. The jailers are saying that through their radio. So they won't even let us through the door. There's one person inside there, and now they let the sheriff, they booked the sheriff guys out, and he's like screaming at us to move our vehicles. They won't even let any of our guys in. They won't book any of our guys. They won't even let us in to use the bathroom, nothing. Nothing.
This is the. I think this is where.
This is it.
This is as bad as it can get.
Like, we can't principle someone's crime, man.
This is as bad as it's. It's pretty bad, dude. Because
This
is really. That deputy was saying I'm about to arrest you for obstruction.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
This guy's got a call, but then my sergeant's telling me not to move.
Right. I have this.
And then when I started back, and he told me to stop at gas station.
What
about arresting all of them?
So this kind of, Nuremberg trials. Oh, just following orders, just following orders, just following orders. There's times where the orders you're given, are fucking bullshit and are endangering people. Like this deputy that's needing to leave because he has to go to a call. Now, granted, I don't know what kind of call it is. It could be a simple theft report kind of call or whatever. But let's say that the person that is needing those services of the police, let's say something happened to them, and this guy's defense is, well, I was just following orders. A sergeant told me not to move my car, but I heard the sheriff deputy tell me he had a call he had to go to, but I still didn't move my car because my sergeant told me not to. Yeah, like, that's bullshit. Like, that's a wrong fucking order to be given. Like, that is something that, yeah, like your sergeant could definitely fucking try and hand you a write-up. But that's where, like, when you're given a write-up, you have the opportunity to write on there a response. And if that agency ever tried to fucking terminate you or whatever, of course you're going to have this documentation that has a description of your side of the events on it. And anyone else wanting to look at that stuff is going to see that. And then they're going to be thinking, well, what the hell's going on here? So there's going to be a good explanation into why you was given a write-up for not following directives from a supervisor. Because the directives being given by the supervisor are fucking bullshit. Most agencies have it within their policies that, it talks about insubordination, but then, it also talks about, being given conflicting orders or being given orders by a supervisor that are wrong. etc. So, there's some places that have those kind of things in place to cover people, because I know that, sometimes hotheads kind of prevail in a sense that, tempers flare and everything, and those things kind of come about and take, precedence over logical thinking. But this is a no-brainer right here. Yeah, the dude's the sergeant. He's your supervisor, and he's telling you don't move your car. But at the same time, you're hearing another law enforcement officer say that he is being summoned to a call to go help the citizen. The very people that you're supposed to be serving. So, orders or not, this dude's fucking wrong for not moving his car.
Not doing her job.
Alright.
This is crazy. Embarrassing. Yeah. I really wish it's not my car right there, dude. I'm gonna leave the keys in there, dude. I really not wanting to be a part of to get charged with a crime, dude, for a stand, dude. I'm telling you right now, bro.
I'm transferring. Possession Schedule 2, obstruction, and road-related objects.
So far, it's all felons. Alright, dude. Get your cars, pull your people outside the car.
Get in your car, clear prisoner out the fence.
Let her go home. Bring me a damn court date and let me go to court.
All CPD prisoners at the jail, just see me out there on in between the street, between the building of the SO and CPD. We'll have our meeting there.
Let's have a seat. Watch your head up, okay?
It's sad, man. They doing this shit.
Watch your legs, okay?
The fucking inmate. He's right. The shit is sad. Alright. So they all have felonies, basically. What you heard that captain saying. It's not like these dudes were picked up for something minor. Like just, simple little, shoplifting charge or something like that. They've got felonies. They got serious charges. And because of the bullshit game being played here, the police had to release the prisoners with their court summons, telling them, hey, you need to show up to court for these very serious felony charges that we've arrested you for. That is some dumb shit. Fucking dumb.
He threatened to arrest me in Fairbanks for obstruction.
And so that makes me wonder, too. So typically, you get arrested. There's a bond involved. It may be a cash bond. It may be a surety bond. It may even be a self-reconnaissance bond. Or an ROR, released on reconnaissance. Meaning you just pinky swear that you're going to show up to court. The other stuff that takes some type of monetary value, either straight cash or a percentage of, the total amount, or even taking property as a way of saying, hey, you promised to show up to court or else you're going to lose this money that you've put up. I don't think any bonds or bail was taken for these offenders. So what real incentive do they have to show back up to court on these serious felony charges that they've just been arrested for? They don't. And even a lot of them still, they put up that money, bond money, and some of them skip out on bond and go about their criminal ways. But still, that whole process was broken because of some stupid ass bullshit.
And in Lockhart. And also said he was going to ram the car. So I mean,
he's going to pass right by us if he ever sees us getting around to be on the street.
They still work well together. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, the rivalry between police agencies and even the bullshit within police agencies. That's something that goes on. And as I said, the general public doesn't really get to see all of it because it is kind of kept, a little bit behind doors, just like you right now. Like, you don't know the bullshit that goes on in-house at your local Walmart or your local Barnes & Noble or whatever. Like, you don't know the intricacies of all that bullshit. Just like you're not going to know all the intricacies of the bullshit that goes on between your public safety agencies. And as I said, it's not just exclusive to police. Like, this shit goes on with fire departments. There are fire departments who damn near have fights over territory. Oh, this is my district. This is my district. It's fucking stupid. Bunch of grown-ass people acting like they're still in high school. That's it for this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.